Hey everybody! How is everybody doing? My dog thinks I'm talking to him. Speaking of my dog, that's what I've been attempting to draw for the last 20 minutes or so. Not super happy with the positioning, but that's what I get for kind of trying to make up from my references. Hi, is it Phoebe Puppy or Phoebe Puppy? How are you? Hey there, how are you? That is Tessa, right? I'm trying to remember the crossover names and everything. I have a little bit of a different setup. I'm trying something a little bit new for my streams. Hey! Got some chill music. Okay, I was pretty sure. I feel like I'm the worst with names. But yeah, I have some chill music going. I have some various references I pulled from photos I've taken of our pets because we're going to be doing a Plantify my pet. The first ones I'm doing are my own pets because I have a lot of references for them. Hey, Neatmo! How are you? Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out my Instagram or you're not following me over there, I recently posted a hashtag that I created called hashtag Plantify my pet, and it is for any photos that you have of your pets that you'd love to see me draw in my style. I can't guarantee I'm gonna get to everybody's, but it would be so awesome of you guys to share those images as references for me. And if I do end up choosing your pet to Plantify, I will end up giving you a chance to buy the original or a print at a discount. So if you are so interested. Oh yeah. I knew I recognized the like your icon, and I sort of recognized the name, but awesome. Glad you're here. I also got myself a drink because I feel like I always underestimate how much talking I'll do and how dry my throat will be. But I also have some snacks, so forgive my munching. But I wanted today to be, actually, most of my live streams I like to be pretty laid back. So sometimes we'll have some snacks. Hopefully my crunching isn't too loud. But I did finish my drawing of one of my cats. So we have 2 cats and a dog. And let me get a picture up of Lando. Here is our Lando cat. He is Lando Catrizian is his full name. Yes, I will definitely be drinking my drink. So this is mostly the reference I used for this sketch. Hopefully you can see the sketch all right. I'm planning on painting it in watercolor, and I planned on having his sort of great spots be kind of a gray-green sort of shrubbery. So that's the plan for him, and then of course I just added kind of a framing of botanical stuff. So I think this one is ready to be painted, so we're probably going to kind of skip around. I do have 3 pets, so this is Lando, and I figured I would do one for each one because I would love to have them framed up in our house, and kind of, every animal has their own individual character, so I wanted to have an individual one of everybody. So this is Link. I can probably zoom in a bit. Oh, there we go. This is Link. This is who I'm trying to draw here. He likes to do this thing where he has his paw up, but I only have one reference photo for that, so I'm kind of navigating that kind of on my own. But and then this is Obi, or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. The cats are Star Wars characters. The dog is Link from Zelda. So, yep. And I have quite a few photos. So this was more or less where I got sort of the reference for his body. He does this little thing. He has his head up. But I didn't want his head to look quite like that. I was hoping I could include maybe some shrubbery or something that he's kind of looking up at, maybe a flower. And so I'm breaking the rules a little bit. I don't have quite the right reference, but I mean, look at that face. He's so cute. I actually tried to get a webcam set up for him because he's actually just on my floor right now. But the camera wasn't, it was like OBS, only like 2 webcams is its max. So there's this one, there's the one that's the built-in on my computer, and then I have a different webcam, but it was like acting like it doesn't exist. So hopefully I'll fix that for the future, because I'd like to include him or other pets on my streams, both here or on Twitch, where I am more regularly. So yeah, this is my monthly YouTube one. I like to do, I've switched it around a little bit, but I think the first Tuesday of the month works pretty well. Hopefully it works for you guys. And yeah, I'll be doing all sorts of different kinds of things here, but Wednesdays, almost every single week, I've been able to stick to. I've missed a couple weeks over on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/fairytalefox. And yeah, I'm over there a lot of the time. I'm over there in other artist streams, I guess artist chat, yeah. In their streams in chat a lot of the time, so if you're over there, you might see me as well. Good names, too cute. Yeah, the cats were named by my husband before we were together. He had them when we met, and so he can take full credit for those names. And then, because I'm fine with Star Wars, it's not my favorite fandom for sure. And so when we adopted Link together, we wanted to have some sort of fandom-based name that was a shared love of ours, and Zelda is a big one for us. So also, he is, if you can't tell from his photos, very timid, especially around other humans. Other dogs, he has kind of a big ego, which is really funny, but other humans, he's really freaked out by, and basically looks like the saddest dog ever all the time. And so I kind of feel like Link is a good name for him to try to like get that courage for him, but it's a little not so fitting sometimes. But yeah, he's a cute pupper. And I do have some funny photos in here if you guys are interested. He was super afraid of this doll at my friend's house, and this photo is like, was the best photo because it's hilarious. He was literally legitimately terrified of this doll. It's a creepy doll, but I mean, look at his face. It's hilarious. Let me get another funny one. I think I have a few funny ones from each of them that I threw in this album just to share with you guys. The cat, Obi, loves him. I think Obi thinks he's another, like, not mini-me because the dog's bigger, but like a twin or something. It's really funny. I think he thinks he's a cat. And then, of course, we have a very noble pup with his book, and I think that's hilarious. So, anyway, you're a Harry Potter girl? Yeah, I can't say that I've read the books. I'm not the largest book nerd, but I have a lot of friends who are, and so I know the stories pretty well. And I went to the movies. I know it's not the same, but I know the movies have a pretty good following as well. So, yeah, I feel like when it comes to books, I'm more of a sci-fi girl. I think that's why movies and stories like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings are a little bit too on the fantasy side for me. I like more of the kind of science-y sci-fi stuff. So Star Trek, Doctor Who is on the line, but more in the, I'm more interested in that. So I think if I had to pick, Doctor Who's probably one of the top fandoms for me. So anyways, yeah, these guys are so funny. And then here's a good one of Obi. They love laying in our bathroom when the sun comes through the skylight, and Obi just will like stretch out completely. It's very funny. Also, Lando's a total ham, and I have like a million pictures of him just in different like poses, and he like smiles and is ridiculous, and it's adorable. But anyway, I digress. This is an art channel, so let's not just look at my pet photos the whole time. But I did want to show you those references if you're interested at all in how I'm sort of putting a piece together. I didn't gather any references of flowers or greenery. I might do that on my phone, just because I wanted to have something up on the screen. But I wanted to get the likeness of my pets correct or down, since it needs to be a little bit more recognizable than just a dog. Like most people can see that this is a dog, but I want to make it look like Link. So you like more realistic situations with a bit of comedy for books. Nice. I feel like I'm bummed because I feel like I would be a real big book nerd if I had a different sort of attention span. I think growing up as kind of the artist, I always wanted something to have pictures, and that's a big reason why books like never quite grasped my attention, especially as I got older when you have less images and things like that. So I don't know if this is the right reference to use. That's probably pretty good. I'm kind of regretting kind of making this pose up. I typically try to stick to 1 or 2 references and not diverge too much from that, but I'm trying to get better about using different kinds of references and creating out of my head just a little bit more, in the sense of taking a reference or multiple references or life drawing and being able to apply that to how I want the character to look, rather than just being limited to that reference. So I'm trying to figure out where his face lands. Yeah. And he's just sitting there staring at me. Can you just like look like this? And then I can draw you. Just like hold that. No, it's not gonna happen. He hates standing. He hates sitting. He loves laying on the most comfortable thing in the entire room. And typically that is a folded up blanket. So like layers of blanket on top of a couch off the ground. He has this one dog bed that's pretty comfy, and then his bedtime dog bed in his crate is like meant for a ginormous dog, because I don't know why we got such a big one, but he's pretty pleased with that. It's like we got him a mattress. It's funny. I think one eye's over here. And if anyone is interested, since his, it's kind of hard to tell what he is. He's a rescue. All 3 of these pets, most of my pets my entire life have been rescues. He was a rescue and was originally identified as a pug beagle mix, and we're pretty certain he's not pug. He does have a shorter snout, so we're pretty sure it's some sort of dog that has a shorter snout, but I mean it's fairly proportional to the rest of his face, but he does kind of snore a little bit and stuff like that I know pugs have to deal with. We are pretty sure he's a Boston Terrier mixed with a beagle, and he definitely has beagle in him because he just like positions himself like beagles do when he's like sniffing something out, and then he has like a very large range of barks and sounds he makes, and a few of them are like more howly, like deep barks, more like a beagle would have. He also yips a little bit, but it's mostly the deeper barking, which I prefer over yippy barks. What is your favorite animal, and what you... Wait, let me read that again. What is your favorite animal, and what... Oh, what you just described is my life. What is my favorite animal? I have a few favorite animals, first being a fox, because that is like my main spirit animal. Second would be the octopus, which I also feel is sort of a spirit animal to me. And I can talk more about spirit animals at some point. I actually started off doing a few animal paintings that I described as spirit animal, like my spirit animal line of paintings, I guess, when I first started YouTube, but I haven't gotten back to them in a little while, and I'd like to, but I've kind of studied the symbology of animals as being sort of symbolic of who we are and kind of our personalities, and I definitely identify with a fox. You're pretty lazy. When it comes to books, again, I think it was just kind of what captured my attention more, and images always did more. That's why I feel like I had a hard time learning languages when I was growing up, is it wasn't made visual enough for me. And I talked about this in a recent video. My collab with Kat from Meow Meow Kapow, we did an American Sign Language challenge, and I talked a little bit about kind of realizing what ASL was in high school after the fact. Like, I wasn't able to take the classes, but I had a lot of friends that knew ASL or that were majoring in it, and so I taught myself the alphabet and a few other terms, and I am still wanting to learn more, but it's so visual because you use your hands and you look at the symbols. It was a lot easier for me to pick up, I feel like. So I'm like the epitome of a visual learner, which is probably why I like YouTube so much, because that's all it is, so visual. Hi, Aaliyah, how are you? We're drawing my doggo, or at least trying to. Like I said, I'm not super happy with his positioning. I feel like I made his snout too short. I'm pretty sure I made his snout too short. I don't want to erase it. Oh well. Probably should have just picked a different position. But I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get better with my animal anatomy, which is another reason why I wanted to open up this hashtag, Plantify my pet, so I get lots of different references for animals and, you know, especially dogs and cats, but birds and all that I wouldn't normally look up myself and will hopefully challenge me. Okay, how do I get his snout to be bigger? Is that too big? Oh, that's pretty good. I'm only sort of using my reference. Do you prefer Harry Potter or Hunger Games? I like Harry Potter. If you like Harry Potter, what house are you? If you're asking, we were talking about Harry Potter. I know that there's other Harry Potter fans in chat. I probably... That's difficult because I actually did read the Hunger Games, but I didn't read Harry Potter. But I would probably pick Harry Potter just because I feel like it's a more interesting story. Ooh, that's hard. I feel like the Potterverse is so much larger that there's more there. With Hunger Games, I feel like I was more interested in the story, mostly because one of my favorite genres of books is dystopian, or like, you know, after, like in the future, the distant future, where there's more a dystopian kind of society going on. So that was why I picked up and read the entire series. That being said, I felt like the Harry Potter, the entire world is more interesting. So, and the idea of magic is more interesting from kind of the story itself. I don't know. I would probably pick Harry Potter, but that's a good question. I am pretty sure, let's see. I've been told I am, and I'm pretty sure I'm Ravenclaw. But yeah. You're Ravenclaw. Oh, wait. I'm from England, so we have British Sign Language instead. That's why the messages are probably taking a long time to come. Yeah, I know... Oh, I can't say I know much British Sign Language, but I follow some YouTubers that are deaf, that are from England or the UK, and so I have seen that, and I've seen a couple videos comparing them, and it's really interesting. There's a lot of crossover, there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences, and so it's interesting how that's a regional thing. I mean, it's like it's like different languages almost. It's interesting. Almost got all 4 houses here. Stick over to our left. Yeah, I've been told I'm a Ravenclaw. I don't know that... I feel like I've taken the sorting quizzes and stuff like that, and I feel like it's told me either Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff, but I'm pretty sure I'm Ravenclaw. So... But again, I respectfully step back from a lot of these kinds of conversations because I know I am not as in the fandom as many I know are, and so I don't want to claim that I am such a big fan and even understand the inner workings of the world as well as others do. So, his nose is bigger. I'm glad he's mostly dark, because a lot of these pencil marks are not going away. I hope you don't mind my munching too much. I realized I hadn't eaten too much right before going live, and so I have just a little cup of almonds that I'm munching on. But I realize that's not the most quiet snack. Not that I'd be able to hide that I'm eating, because there's, yeah. But while I'm working on this, let me know, how are you guys doing? Are you up to anything fun? Are you at work? Are you working on a particular project? I can't figure out if I want to make him look sad or concerned like he normally looks, or make him look happy. I kind of want to make him look happy, but I feel like that's not what he looks like half the time. Like, this reference photo I have down below is fairly, like, neutral, but that's as happy he usually gets. The happiest he ever looks is when he's overheated and is panting. So I don't know that he's actually happy. I think he's just hot. So. That's pretty good. I feel like I made his snout look a little bit more proportionate. It's not quite right, but these, I mean, these are my own personal artwork, so it's not a huge deal. I also kind of made up this positioning, so I feel like it doesn't, I have to fix some mistakes, but I mostly wanted to practice. What's your favorite type of plant? Let's see, that's a good question. That's a hard question. I feel like most succulents are my favorites. I really like the Echeveria, I believe is how you say it. The ones typically look like little flowers. But I've been really into like ferns and ivy. I actually just got an ivy plant, an English ivy plant recently, and I need to repot it because I have a nice white pot to go in here. It's just gonna be kind of above me, back up on this little thing I have on my table. And but I've been really liking like ferns. This is like a fake one, but like a little fern, kind of like that. Similar to what I drew in this piece. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but these little ferns. You've read it 20 times? Well, so again, I feel like I can't say too much because I haven't read the books. I have seen all the movies multiple times, and I have basically, growing up, I have always had best friends who are crazy, not crazy, but like super fanatics about Harry Potter, and so I always just picked up a lot of information. So that helped. I did try starting to read it, but I think I got overwhelmed by how many books there were that it just sort of was off-putting. I get really overwhelmed at first, and then when I'm in the middle of a series, I get really bummed that it's only like 4 books, so I don't understand it. Teddy bear cactus or white flower cactus. I love that so many cacti and succulents are like animal names, and I've been wanting to do something with that a little bit. I kind of did that a little bit with my Patreon, my tiers, and I started off with more tiers, and now I've cut back for the time being to make sure that I can handle what I do have. But I did a zebra plant, and I was like trying to do like animals, and then I was gonna make the animals look like the plants that they're sort of named after. But I feel like my skill level was not, it still isn't quite there to feel comfortable doing that, but eventually I want to do like a succulent series of ones who have like the common names that are of animals, because I think that would be really cool. You're one of those fanatics? That's awesome though. I have someone who's more of a friend, but she, like, this is her life. I mean, she also loves doing cosplay for other fandoms like Doctor Who, but she's been like published in magazines because of her collection of Harry Potter stuff. And I'm just like, that's so awesome that you have something that you're so passionate about. And I mean, it seems like the community is so amazing too. that I definitely, like, I get it. It's awesome. And I think that's ultimately the best thing about just fandoms in general, is the communities around them. I think that's what most people, like, they love a thing, and then you find all these other people who love it just as much, if not more than you, and then you're like instantly family, which I think is really fun. I might do a plant pattern in kind of his black spots, but I'm not sure yet. I also want to make his eyes look really bulgy because they are very bulgy. But I was going to have something kind of come up here that he's kind of like looking at, maybe. Oh, now I'm going to make him look crazy. I feel like putting the pupils and the eyeballs is always where you can make your character either look correct or they look really off. That's pretty good. I don't think that's super accurate, but I mean, it's sort of a caricature. I think I also intended on doing this in a blue Prismacolor pencil, and I totally didn't, so that's okay. This is either my second favorite color to sketch in, or possibly like tied for first. So I like sketching with the Prismacolor pencils, the Color Ace pencils, and Indigo Blue is probably my favorite. I really quickly bought like a whole pack of them because I was going through them really fast, and they look really nice with plants and things like that. But this is my original from the first pack of the purple. I think it's just the color purple. And I really like that for other pieces, and I sort of kind of go back and forth. I think I'm going to need a different reference to get a full body pattern shot. I think I have one, but it's kind of blurry. By the way, look at the face. He's so cute. I probably should have used this one. Why didn't I use this reference? Oh my goodness. Your nickname is Cactus? That's awesome. Tried to read it, but my focus is -100. Yeah. I'm bummed though, because I feel like I get that way with new music too. I won't take the time to sit and listen to new albums. I always want to... I've ranted about this on other live streams, where I feel like I want, whenever I sit down to listen to music, I want it to be something that I am familiar with, but that greatly limits what I listen to, and yeah, then I can't find new music to fall in love with, and so it's like a big vicious cycle. So I'm trying to get better. I'm hoping on live streams over on Twitch, even though it's technically not super great to have licensed music playing, I feel like it's a little bit more acceptable rather than here on YouTube, where I want to make sure that my live streams can go up as VODs and that people can watch them. But yeah, and if they're deemed like the music isn't okay, the entire video is off limits. Rather on Twitch, only parts of it you won't be able to see later. But anyway, let me get caught up on chat. Yeah, I started this hashtag Plantify my pet because I want to practice pet portraits and offer that as basically a commission that I can do for people in the future, especially when I'm raising money for something and stuff like that. And so I want to build my portfolio because I typically draw just animals I like that are like forest dwelling animals or like ocean animals, and I feel like people would want to commission me more for pets, so I wanted to practice that in my style, and I figured I would kind of put the call out, and if you guys have your own photos to share, that would be really awesome for me to use. And so I figured I would start off this, I guess, series with my own pets. So yeah, this is Link, the pup of time, is his full name. This is Lando. This is probably, he's a floofer and very fat. And then this is Obi. This is him sticking his tongue out, and I think it's hilarious. So those are our 3 adorable petos. Petos. I was trying to look for, I have one photo I thought, oh, here we go. It has filters on it, but I can see where his pattern is. Yeah, I saw that you submitted one. I need to actually start getting through everybody's, but I wanted to start with my own pets because, I mean, that makes sense, right? So. Oh no, you can't buy Colorays? That's so sad. Can you buy the Pilot Color Eno? This is like loose ink, or lead rather, that you can put into really any pencils. This is like my second go-to, only because I started off with the Prismacolors. And I've been trying these out. I actually got these from Wish. I don't know where Wish all goes to, but you can get like a little sampler, and it's like a couple pieces of lead of these 6 colors. The only thing is I typically like 0.5 lead, and this is 0.7, but that's another erasable lead. And then there's, whoops, there's also, it's not as high quality in my opinion, but Papermate makes, if you've seen these kinds of pencils, I've always really liked these kind of click pencils, but they have these that are color, and so this is actually purple lead, and I think I got a pack that was purple and green, which was nice. They don't erase super well, but it's fairly inexpensive, so those are other options. I'm not sure what's available near you though. Oh, hi, Lana. Yep, this is my dog and one of my cats, and then I'm going to do my other cat too. I'm going to try to get through them today. I figure I would start with my own pets because I feel like I should have drawn them more than I have. So I figured I would start with mine and show some examples and then start getting through all the submissions, which it's been fantastic. Thank you guys so much for submitting if you have. I'm excited to try out, especially, I mean, I know cats and dogs are pretty common, but if you have a different kind of animal, that would be really awesome because I really want a diverse amount of animals for pets to draw. So I feel like I didn't make his head big enough. I'm trying not to be nitpicky though. Yeah. Yep, this is Link. I'll go through the photos a bit more once we start painting. I want to make sure I get his patterning right, and then I'm going to add some greenery around him, probably like a flower. Oh, maybe I should do what's it called in Breath of the Wild, the one flower, shoot, if anybody remembers what it's called, I'll end up looking it up, but the one major flower from Breath of the Wild and Zelda, since his name is Link, I should probably do something kind of like that. Are there Star Wars related greenery things? Nothing comes to mind, but again, I'm not a super huge fan. So I recognize that I'm not the best to know these things. Hi, Farley Creates. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. My streams are typically pretty laid back. We like some relaxing music, talk about various stuff like mental health and the weather. I typically complain about the weather a lot. It's midnight there. Okay, where is everybody from? Let me know in chat. I'm really interested. I tried to pick a little bit of a later time because I feel like a lot of my viewers are from the US, and I felt like kind of closer to when they're off of work was better. I'm still kind of playing around with it, but I also realized in chat on Twitch and here, I'll get people from all over, and so I don't want to go too late, so it's, you know, so late. It's 3:50 p.m. here. You're in Wisconsin? Germany, right. I feel like you've told me that a bunch of times. Proud British? Nice. Maryland. And the Netherlands. So cool. I am excited that I have been able to visit both Great Britain and Germany now, after never being out of the, I mean, out of the country. I had been to Mexico once, because I'm from Southern California, but I had never been overseas, and so Washington State. Oh, that's where I want to be. I love it there. We have a lot of friends in Seattle, and that's where my husband went to school. And so he just has a lot of friends and people in his industry that are still there. So one day, it's definitely a possibility. I would be happy in probably Portland too, but that's less likely for his career, and we're more than likely going to stick with where he can work, since his is more of a 9-to-5, so to speak, kind of job, whereas I make my own hours currently. And even if I worked in psychology, which is my other education, I could probably work just about anywhere as well. So it's mostly based on where he's gonna need to be. That's pretty close, right? He looks happier, which he usually never looks that happy. No, he actually went to DigiPen, which is a school specifically for making video games, because he knew since he was 16 that he wanted to work on video games, and so he went directly to a specialized school. It's, I believe, in the, is it northeast of Seattle, I want to say, is where DigiPen is. But basically right outside of Seattle. Alright, I need to look up that flower. Why can't I remember what it's called? Have any of you guys played Breath of the Wild? Silent Princess. I thought it was princess related. So, oh, that's going to be really reflective. Never mind. But you can see that's the flower I'm talking about. So I'm thinking of putting that above him, since he is Link, based on, not specifically Breath of the Wild, but just Zelda in general. So. Okay, you're heading off to sleep. I'm gonna call you Skyla, because that's what I'm gonna remember to call you. Have a good night. Thank you so much for being here. Has he made any video games? Yes. He's worked for a few different companies. I don't know how he feels about me talking about the companies he works for, so yeah. He's made a few things, or at least helped. I mean, he didn't do it all by himself. He's worked for larger gaming studios, so. But because he's in the gaming industry, and I mean, there are game companies all over, but for the most part, they are in LA, Seattle, the Bay Area where we are. I believe out in, is it Houston? I can't remember which city in Texas. And then I think New York or Boston are like the main hubs, but mostly the West Coast, so. You're also gonna go Neatmo? Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for staying up late and hanging out before bed. Yes, Breath of the Wild. Yeah, we actually got Breath of the Wild before we knew we were going to get a Switch. So we had it on the, what's it called? The Wii, I mean, the Wii, but it was the, like, other one. I'm really not, can you tell how, like, video game oriented I am? I like video games, for sure, and I'm wanting to play them more on my Twitch channel, since that's what Twitch is good for as well, and what it started out being. So if you're interested in that, I'll start doing probably more puzzle games, and then Spyro when it comes out. But that means we have to buy a new system again, which we have just about every system, but not the newest ones. But anyway, yeah, we played it on the Wii, and it is a gorgeous game. We ended up getting the Switch when Mario Odyssey came out. We actually played that a little bit on my Twitch live stream a little bit, or Twitch channel, I should say. And if any of you guys are interested, my husband did start a Twitch channel for playing and making games. He's teaching himself to code in Unity and is playing through some of the games that he's made as well, and talking about what it's like to be a developer of those games. So if you find yourself over there interested, yeah, Wii U, that's what I couldn't think of that for some reason. If you're interested in that, he's over on Twitch as Gaming Game Dev. Also, you guys should go follow him so that he can be affiliate on Twitch, because it takes like 50 followers. So I need to get his follower count up. That kind of looks like it. Yeah, so we played it on the Wii U. Hi, Jacqueline, how are you? Oh, you're like how I am with Breath of the Wild, but Harry Potter? That's fair. Oh, and Jen, you're from Tacoma, but you're in Spokane now? Very cool. Yeah, I've only really been to the Seattle area. I've been, I think 3 times now. I think I've gone twice with my husband, and then once right before meeting my husband, we were actually talking online, and it was really funny because I was there for a trip for a conference for school, for my career in psychology, and we had just started talking, and he was like, oh, I went to school there, and I was like, cool, I love it here, and we met up shortly after that. We met online, if that isn't obvious. I am typically on at about this time on Wednesdays on Twitch. I missed last week, so I haven't been super great about keeping up with things. We actually had a pretty big heat wave, although we have a huge one coming this weekend apparently, but we had a pretty big heat wave right when summer started here in California, and my skin is really sensitive to really big changes, and especially with heat, and so I actually had a reaction. I don't know if any of you deal with something similar. It's really frustrating, especially since it typically affects my hands, and specifically affected my right hand, and I'm still recovering from it. You can probably see that my skin is still really sensitive, and so I am finally getting to the point where I can draw again, which is really frustrating. So I skipped last week over on Twitch, but I should be there tomorrow, and that's every Wednesday I try to be on, and I'm trying to do Fridays here and there, mostly for games, but it'll be art related as well, just for more, I mean, I think they're all pretty casual streams that I do, but even more casual in the sense of like playing games and just kind of hanging out with you guys and talking about things that may or may not be as art related. So, and fingers crossed, everybody, for me. I applied to the Artist Alley for TwitchCon. I don't know if any of you are even interested in Twitch related stuff, but since I am on there fairly often, I did apply for TwitchCon to be in the Artist Alley, which is going to be in San Jose, which is really near me. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get a table, probably sharing with a friend of mine. And yeah, they are gonna tell us on the 15th, I guess, or around there of this month. So fingers crossed. I'd really love to table there because it would be really fun. And I've made so many friends over on Twitch, and am excited. I was planning on going to the convention anyway, but it would be really nice to be able to sell there as an artist since I do conventions. So yeah. Did you go to Pike's Place? I did, yes. When I went there my first time for the conference, it was at, you know, the Washington Conference Center. I think that's what it's called, right? Just the main one in Seattle. I actually flew in. It was my first time renting a car and first time like driving a rented car, and had to deal with traffic in Washington, which is different than California. And so, but I spent, whenever I found parking in Seattle, I stayed there. And so I took buses around the city and walked around and went down to Pike's Place and kind of the underground area too. It was really fun. And I'd love to go back. I mean, I'd love to live in the area, not in Seattle, but outside of Seattle. Just like here, I'm outside of San Francisco. I like that I can go to San Francisco, but I wouldn't want to live in San Francisco, mostly because we wouldn't be able to afford it. So, and also I don't really like how crowded it is. Oh yeah, with the crazy heat waves. We too suffer from heat here. Yeah. I have to head out. I enjoyed it so much. All right. Bye, Farley. Thank you for being here. All right. Now I'm looking at reference down here. want to at least get one of these painted. I was going to do one for Obi, but I think I might just stick with these two so that I can get something done. I always feel like I'm going to be so super productive on streams, and then I end up just like talking to you guys forever, and then like I totally don't regret that, but then I'm like, oh no, I didn't finish anything. Kind of doing this part fast, so this flower might look a little wonky. That's okay. I also realize this part of the flower needs to come in more. So I know this isn't technically supposed to be a very long or tall flower, but I want it to kind of be peeking out from behind him. Aw, thank you so much, Lana. That's so sweet. Like I said, I can't complain. It's super fun. I just, in the back of my head, I feel like a lot of artists feel this way when we're not actually creating art like we would be in a video. It feels like it's gonna make people bored. Link, you're asleep. Honey. You're yipping in your sleep. Are you okay? You okay, puppy? He's sleeping right down there. Like I was mentioning earlier, I was trying to get an extra webcam because I do have an extra webcam set up on him, and OBS was not having it, so I have to stick to the two. I guess I could have it on him instead of me, but I don't know if you guys want to stare at him the whole time. He literally just lays there and sleeps, and then he falls asleep, has a dream, and starts yipping in his, not like yipping like he's in pain, but like he's barking in his dream. It's cute, but it can be kind of loud, especially if I'm trying to record a video or a voiceover or something. Okay. So look at these leaves are kind of like this. Now, I always feel like I struggle with wanting to incorporate the plant life in the actual animal. And sometimes that works out really well, but for other ones, I feel like it's pretty hard to come up with how that would work. And especially in kind of unique ways. Like I have my peacock and a few others where I make like the feathers into succulents or something like that. And I feel like it's hard to do that every single time. And so I end up just surrounding them with plants, which isn't the worst thing, but I'd really love to be able to make it that the plants are more a part of the animal, because I ultimately really love this idea of melding plants and animals. But I don't know how I would do that with him. Whoops. Alien sounds? Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, they're kind of alien sounds. He definitely looks like an alien, because if you can tell, his eyes are huge. Like, super big. They're so bulgy. That photo doesn't, excuse me, like that's kind of bulgy. I don't know if I have a good photo of his eyes when they're like boggled out. And it's like he can't quite close his eyes all the way. And so when he's sleeping, it's like his eyes just like open a little bit. And so when you're dreaming, just like animals do the same thing, your eyes are moving because REM sleep, or rapid eye movement, is when you're dreaming, when you're in a deep sleep. And so your eyes move and his eyes don't completely close, and it's kind of creepy. There we go. That's pretty bogged out eyes. Do you see how freaked out he is by that doll? I think that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. Are we dropping frames or anything? It looks okay on my end. I guess I could do more flowers down here. I want it to not be too crowded down here because I want the focal point to be up here, but it's kind of empty here. I don't know. What else? Do the flowers... I feel like the flowers in the game are also pretty spread out from each other. It's not like you have an entire field full of them. Because they're supposed to be, like, fairly uncommon. Sort of. But I guess I can reinterpret that. Oh, it'd be cute if I put, like, a sword or something. I don't know that that would make any sense. I could put little, like, Triforce shapes in his fur. Or I can give him a little... Because he typically has his collar on. I can give him a collar. Let's do that. Let's give him a collar and give him, like, a Triforce hanging from it. I think that would be cute. This is turning into fan art. I wasn't intending for it to be fan art, but here we are. Yeah, I was thinking that, Jacqueline, of having just kind of some tufts of grass. My intention was for him to be sitting up, similar to... What reference was that? Similar to this. But I guess he could be lying down. It's sort of up to the background to sort of place him. And again, I'm not super happy with the anatomy, but I'm wanting to just sort of play around with this idea a bit. And this is going to be something that I'll just hold on to myself, and we'll probably put it up in our home. But I can maybe put more leaves like this. Because I guess it's sort of up to the background to ground him, quite literally. Yeah, he is. In the photo, I mean, I'm drawing him at a different angle, so that's part of the problem. And I didn't draw a leg here because I was initially thinking he was standing in grass, and so I didn't put it in case I was going to draw over it anyway. But if I end up not doing that, I'll add in his leg similar to the one of Lando, where he's just kind of sitting there, and the only real interaction with the greenery is this vine that's wrapping around his tail, but everything else is sort of like flat behind him. I don't know how... I should probably make this one pretty grounded if he's actually looking at the flower. Let me look at what the grass looks like. in the game. I could also do some of the other florals. It's kind of blurry. So there are kind of these sorts of little white flowers that I could maybe add as well. Maybe he's standing in the grass with these little white flowers. I feel like adding too many of these would maybe take away from his attention there, I guess. But I could maybe do some grass. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to draw this leg, but I figured you would see at least part of this leg. And it's not even really in the right spot, but it's close enough. That still kind of makes him look like he's laying. And so there's these clumps. They almost look like cotton. These little flowers. That works. Hi Dory, how are you? What color will the flower be? So the flower, was it Princess? Oh, I already forgot. Silent Princess. If we're going with the Link, Breath of the Wild kind of Link here, it's white on the outside and then sort of a light blue or a bright blue in the middle. So, and then this will be green down here. Excuse me. So yeah, my intention was to have this be sort of grass that his other leg is just being blocked by. I wasn't intentionally trying to hide it. What are you up to today, Dory? And guys, if you haven't checked out Dory's channel, go right now. Go subscribe. She has awesome art content, but also really cool stories. Hey. I actually need to go back and watch some of your story videos that I've missed out on from before I had subscribed to you. Because I subscribed originally knowing it was art related, and then I realized that you had all this other content, and I've been really into watching more like paranormal stuff and more storytelling videos, just as a viewer on YouTube. So thank you, Rich. Yeah, this is my pup Link. He's very cute. Oh, cool. Some artist trading cards or ACOs. Are you going to be doing the August ACO version of the the artist trading card one? So I wanted to just hint at a background. I don't even know how far I want to bring it out. I was probably going to just fade out the color in the background. Try to make a little bit of atmospheric perspective to help place him. Oh, I forgot to put his little Triforce on here. There we go. Oh, greeting cards. Nice. So I'm just trying to put almost abstract tiny flowers in the back here to make it look like there's more depth there. Hopefully it'll look better when I paint it. But again, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself because this is more of a personal piece. Okay, so spent a lot more time on that one than I had wanted to. I have these two done, or at least close to done. Should I paint the cat or the dog first? Poor Obi's gonna have to wait till next time. For any of you who just came in, I can show you some of my funny photos. Excuse me, of Lando, drawer cat, apparently. That is Lando Calrissian. He's a big sweetheart and also super annoying most of the time. Here's him being our DM for Dungeons & Dragons one time. And him posing a bunch for me. He's very cute. He's also very fat. I tried to make him look fat in here. And then I have a few him and Obi. So, and then some silly Link ones. Oh, I'm so sorry for Mr. Eddraws. That's so sweet of you. The sound seems to not be in sync. Interesting. I honestly don't even know what would do that on a live stream. Because I know in video you can have things off sync a little bit. I don't even know how to correct something like that. Since we spent so much time on this one, let's go ahead and start painting this one. If there's anything that I can do to help fix that, I would if I knew what to do. camera. And I'm just going to be using this little set of the Jane Davenport Brights watercolor set that I received recently from an awesome patron. I've been trying to play around with these more and have this be kind of my fun palette, since I, you know, do art for work. Sometimes I put a lot of pressure on myself to make things look a certain way and use certain products and stuff, and so. Yeah, if you guys have any ideas of how to troubleshoot that, I literally have no idea. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I'm sure if my husband was home, he'd be able to help me troubleshoot. I know we've changed things up a little bit on my stream setup because I didn't realize when I upgraded my computer and my computer monitor that it sort of messed with the ratio of certain things displaying, and things were actually basically all zoomed in, and so it made everything a lot more poor quality rather than being zoomed out to the proper ratio and stuff. And we could have messed up something with the audio, but I really couldn't tell you what it is. So, but yeah, now that I know, we can try to play around and see. Also, while I'm thinking of it, we are actually already getting pretty close to 5K. I have a little goal, what is it, over there? A little goal bar. I don't think it's updating in real time super well, but I wanted to create a little goal thing there because we're gonna do a giveaway at the 5K mark, and I wanted to know what kind of stuff you guys would like to see. I'm planning on making it international because I know my, gosh, just yesterday was 1K, it feels like, for subscribers. I had to make it not basically exclude international viewers, which made me really sad, but I was giving away a lot of like art supplies and stuff like that that would have cost just way more than I wish it would, and I wanted to make this next one international, and so I'm gonna be sending out mostly kind of smaller things, so like artwork, prints. I think I'm gonna do probably an original in the giveaway, and stickers and stuff, but I'm curious what you guys are interested in receiving as a giveaway item. I feel like I always have, you know, my own ideas, but we'll get a lot of really great ideas from you. Always interested in art? Awesome. Yeah, I figure I have a lot of fairly flat products like prints and stickers. I have some postcards still that I don't even carry on my Etsy anymore, of a little bit of older art that I could throw in there. I think I ended up throwing in a little bit of that in my first giveaway too, but I could really pack it full of a lot of things. As long as they're flat, it's a lot easier for me to ship out. So I figure, I mean, it's not going to specifically go to someone outside of the US, but if it does, that won't be any issue for me. The only thing is, I know some places, you know, you put what you think is the correct postage on there, and that country has various ideas of what the postage should be, and so I know sometimes they'll try to charge the person receiving it, which makes me really sad. So hopefully that won't happen. But postcards, you love sending them out? All right, well, that's good to know. I know some people still like to collect those. Probably should carry at least some of the green up to the top here, since the flower is white, so that I can have it kind of stand out a bit. But I want it to be faded out so that it looks like it's actually in the background. Getting eraser bits. I'm using the Canson XL, my typical go-to. Bookmarks are great. Oh yeah, bookmarks. I also do have some supplies rather to make magnets. I was thinking about doing a limited supply of magnets. I don't know if I want to do designs that I've already made or make new ones, but I could throw those in there because they would be pretty flat. They'd be, basically it's like thin paper that's magnet paper. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's like a sheet that you run through a machine, and I figure I could do that too. I think buttons would be a little hard because they're a little on the thicker side. I don't want it to be a box. I want it to be more of a stiff envelope because I think that's going to be kind of the cheapest way of doing this. And make sure that I can still make it a pretty good package. I'm lucky with many of my friends. We write letters and cards. Oh, that's so nice. I've thought about having a pen pal, but I feel like I have a hard enough time keeping up with people even with all the technology we have, that I don't know that I'd be able to keep up with that. Yep, I have the padded ones, and I have I purchased a whole bunch of the basically rigid mailers, especially for prints and things like that. You don't want things to be bent, so that could work too. Nope, I didn't talk about that. I didn't participate, or I guess I'm not participating, not for any particular reason other than I have a lot of other projects that I've sort of signed myself up for, and I honestly forgot when it was until Denise was posting about it, but I might try to do something one of these days for World Watercolor Month. I feel like there's so many art challenge months and things like that that I get a little overwhelmed even just at the thought of participating in any of them. But I might do something. Another thing too is there's various art challenges for the months, but I'm also a part of a Twitch stream team where we have our own art challenge where we focus on a particular animal each month, and I haven't been able to finish the last couple months pieces, and I would like to for this month, because it's the animal that is featured is the okapi, or okapi, I think it's okapi, and it's really cute, and I want to draw it. And I mean, I don't have to draw it to enter, but we do judging. If any of you saw on Twitter, I was a judge for June's, and that was really fun, and I'd love to be more involved in that side of things. So I'm sort of just picking picking here and there what won't overwhelm me. Are you taking part, Jacqueline? Oh, and that's the other thing I'm reminded of. I got really excited one day when I realized that I had an idea for a community challenge on my Patreon. So I've seen a lot of other artists on Patreon do this, where they have like a monthly theme that everyone draws in or something like that. And I wanted to do that, but I didn't want it to just be like an animal or something like that. And I ended up realizing that I think what I want to do is have basically a particular plant that I hopefully will have taken my own reference photos of, because I have done a little photography in the past and I would love to do that more, and basically feature a particular plant or flower, and then I will post references for those patrons that want to be involved, and then I'll have like a community art day where I share everybody who wants their work shared on my social media, probably in like an Instagram stories kind of thing. And we all create work around a particular plant or something like that. I thought would be really fun. So I made that a new goal. I think after, there's one goal coming up where I'm going to do a giveaway just to patrons, and then after that, the next goal is going to be the community challenge opening up. So you could do just one nice piece for the month instead of, yeah, I think I might do that. Doing something small every day. Yeah, small's the way to go if you're gonna do it every day. Yeah, definitely. I feel like I still am getting over doing pieces every day in April, which now feels like so long ago. But I think for me, I have a lot of behind the scenes projects going on. I'm trying to up my game over on Patreon and bring a ton of value there to patrons, and hopefully eventually have another tier open up that has more things, but I want to make sure that I can commit to what I've already committed to. And I have various teams and groups, such as the stream teams over on Twitch, as well as the Animal Artist Collective that we're doing that's also happening next week, which I'm really excited about. I have my sketch done, I just need to paint it. And then I have just other stuff like Etsy things. I feel like I've kind of let go a little bit, and I want to get products up there. And I have Skillshare classes that I'm trying to finish. I still need to, I think I have everything planned out. I just need to start recording everything and put everything together. And so I think I just, like usual, have a little more on my plate than I would like. So I'm trying to pace myself and make sure that I'm not putting anything on the back burner, at least for too long. So I'm trying to still do my weekly videos here on YouTube, have my live streams whenever I can, and kind of be okay with where I'm at and not get too hard on myself when I feel like things are being let go that I want to get out that haven't come out yet. So yeah, there's a lot going on. And in typical freelance artist fashion, I guess, I feel like I'm still not doing enough. I feel like that's pretty common for a lot of artists here on YouTube, and even if they're doing things part-time, it feels like you could always be doing more. But particularly if you're self-employed like I am and are in control of all these different things you're working on, it feels like you're doing too much but not enough, kind of constantly. So it is, that's so weird. I wonder if it's just YouTube. No one's brought it up on Twitch, but then again, maybe people just didn't bring it up, I'm not sure. So I would prefer to not use black, because I don't like to use black, because I like softer colors. I'm trying to figure out what color I should have the black spots on Link. Let me get a better photo up. Look at that face every time. So that, let me zoom out. So that's a better idea of his spots. I always think of like an indigo blue, or possibly a warmer blue that's just really pigmented, like a purple almost. I'm not sure though. I was thinking for this piece, I was gonna maybe have his spots, since he's gray, have it be sort of a desaturated, cooler green, and then have warmer green tones for the grass around him, and it be a little bit more on the monochromatic side, but I'm not sure. Indigo? All right, purple or indigo? I mean, indigo's kind of purple. Isn't it basically blue purple? More or less? Do you think the ink and royal mix might work good? Yeah, I think that would maybe work. That's probably what I would go with if I was doing sort of an indigo. Because I feel like ink is sort of indigo. Where did my little swatch chart go? There we go. So yeah, this is this palette. I don't love how this looks on this paper because it's not watercolor paper that they give you. But I feel like ink is almost an indigo, but I think royal would make it look really nice. Should probably keep that up for myself. I wouldn't be surprised if black was in the ink one. I was actually expecting the ink color to be more of a black, and I was pleasantly surprised that it's not, I guess, a true black. It's definitely more blue in my opinion. Which I guess makes sense for ink, blue ink. Where did that image go? Yeah, it's funny. I had been eyeballing the palette at Michael's for a while, and I couldn't justify spending the money. So, thank you. And it definitely is pretty fun to play with. I actually started to use it on a piece I need to get back to. And I was pretty happy with how the wash turned out. So this is a Fox, but I feel it's one of those ones where I like it so much that I'm afraid to keep going. You guys have that where you're like, oh no, I'm gonna mess it up. So these are hydrangea flowers. And I feel like I need to get a really nice reference to get the blues and purples and pinks and whites that I am gonna have the tail be. But I used this kind of teal mixture I did in the background, and it's definitely not flat, but I like the texture that it created, so that was pretty fun. I think I did that on stream a couple weeks ago over on Twitch. I have like a million half-done pieces, which I guess is better than not having anything to work on, but I keep forgetting and I keep making new pieces to work on. And I've been trying to get in the habit, and I've been pretty good about at the end of the night when we're kind of sitting on the couch and watching TV or kind of finishing up dinner, I just have some paper and start sketching out some ideas, and sometimes I get to them, sometimes I don't like them, but a lot of the time they end up being cute animals that I like the line work of, and then they don't get painted. So I'm trying to get through a lot of those. What is the fox? Tape to your presentation at some point. Yeah, I actually, so I have a few of these. It's actually from Home Depot, I believe. This is chalkboard that you can buy. So it's basically like MDF board. It's pretty thin. I'm gonna mess with the lighting settings, sorry. But this back side is technically chalkboard material. And then it's just a plain sort of unfinished on this side. And what I did is I got a board, like a single board, and they'll cut it for you. And I cut it into a few different pieces. I cut it into 2 of this size, which is probably roughly 8 by 11, 8.5 by 11. And then I have a couple of these larger ones that I sometimes use for larger pieces. So this is what, you know, the back side is. And then on this one I covered the black side. And this pattern that you see is contact paper. It's actually contact paper from the Dollar Tree. And I really like the soft grays. I've been thinking about changing it up. I was thinking about maybe doing something that is more of a, like a whitewashed wood kind of texture, or a light brown. Let me know what you guys would think about that. I kind of like this texture, but I feel like it's a little busy sometimes, so I don't really know. But I made these so that I can be working on a few pieces at a time, and they're really nice and sturdy, and I can kind of just pick them up. I can also, if I'm working on something, I can kind of tilt it up if I need to, if it needs to dry a certain way. I need more of these boards because here I have this taped to just a clipboard. But this clipboard, okay, like Jacqueline was saying about how this palette was made for me, look at the color of this. I already had this clipboard that I basically got from, I think, the Target dollar spot a while back. For a while I used this for my newsletter signups, my email newsletter, which I'm not very good at doing. But I had this because it matches so much of my stuff, this sort of teal, it's almost on the greener side, but kind of a more vibrant seafoam almost. And I just love that that's like the perfect color. So yeah, I use those boards. I have a few boards kind of stuck in here along with my light board, and I have a few cutting mats for when I was doing more craft related things. And yeah. I've been really wanting to do something similar. My video backgrounds are so bland. Yeah, I started doing this background, gosh, how long has it been now? I think it's been slightly less than a year. I found this kind of tape or contact paper design, and I really liked it. I need to go back and get more if they still have some, especially since it's at the Dollar Tree. I've found one other artist that I know uses this. She doesn't do videos, but she live streams and posts on Instagram, and I realized that she has the same exact contact paper. And so what I did, I mostly did it because this is matte, and so it doesn't have any reflections from the lights, which is really nice because that can be really problematic. And my table and pretty much all my furniture in my entire room are all black. And it's kind of a shiny black. My main table is actually an IKEA dining table, so it's really deep, which is great because I now have big studio lights that are up here that are huge and they're just on my table. It's still kind of cumbersome, but they can fit back there because I only use so much of this. And so what I do is I have a contact paper on a thin kind of poster board, and I just have that basically taped down to the table, so it's not ruining the table. The contact paper isn't directly on the table, but I still have a nice flat surface and a pretty large workspace that I can use for photos and stuff like that. I kind of want to get more contact paper and make this workspace a bit bigger, because when I'm taking photos you can kind of see the edges a little bit, and I don't love that, so yeah. But that's what I do. I like that. Once I started doing that and getting these little fake plants to kind of just go in my videos and go in my photos, even though these are fake, I still feel like it kind of brings everything together. It's on brand, as they say. So, plus it just makes me happy. Dina has empty palettes. Yeah, I saw that they have the light blue and light pink, and I'm kicking myself because I recently bought a big one. It's kind of at the bottom of my palettes, but I bought one of the really large ones because we were throwing stuff in an Amazon order, and I know I'm gonna want a big studio palette that I can fit all my colors in when I'm in the studio, because I have just kind of a bunch of different palettes, and I just quickly bought the black one, and then later was like, no, there's the pink and the blue one. So I might have to get another one in the future. I don't know. But I've got the black one and it's fine. But then recently, right after I got that, I was sent this pretty blue one. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. I got a copy of the blue palettes because the black ones are so boring. Yeah. I probably should have just exchanged it, but I didn't. It's not too big of a deal. Yeah, it's really nice. For a while I was using different backgrounds, so I was using kind of the back side of these that are just kind of the light wood. Like my very first video is that. But mostly the desk is kind of shiny, and so it just doesn't look great. And going into making videos, I was very much aware of how aesthetic they were, just because I'm very visual, and so I wanted my videos to be really nice right from the beginning. And I probably put too much pressure on myself, and that's why it took me a while to actually commit to doing weekly videos, because I was putting so much pressure on myself for them to look nice. And once I found this setup, it's really nice. Plus, contact paper is made to get messy and you can clean it up. So the main thing is I've had some bits of wear and tear where just the color has rubbed off because I've used it so much, and I can just replace it, and I can just peel off this, you know, the poster board that it's on, and just put down a new one. And it's really nice. It's actually the width of the poster board, so I just kind of slapped it down. I know Bailey J, I think, recently did the contact paper thing, and she covered her whole desk. And my concern for that, I guess you can change it still, but my concern for that is sometimes it comes up, or like I'm getting a lot of wear and tear on the pattern itself, and that's going to start showing. And I want to be able to change it really quickly. I gifted my black ones to Denise. Aw, nice. You're so generous, Jacqueline. You'll get the blue one when you need more palette space. Well, except I already bought a black one. So, I don't know. I bought the black one. I was mostly wanting to buy half pans because I had never bought empty pans before. And I do have quite a few tube paints, and I'm starting to really like having kind of interchangeable palettes. And so I got the black one. So I have, this is the big one. I guess I could still gift it to someone, but yeah, I have the really big. But I already used some of the pans, the half pans, and I'm probably going to end up putting stickers on it anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I'll gift it to somebody and I'll invest in a light blue one as well. Your desk has a glass top. Yeah. And glass is so shiny too. Excuse me. That's something that bugs me, is how reflective it is. I mean, I have lights that all have some sort of diffuser on them, but it's still where the light is concentrated. That distracts me in my videos. So I try to prioritize it being really soft, and yeah. That would be interesting insights. You'll get questions about your supplies if they're visible. Yeah, that's true. But it might look kind of cluttered, and that I could see that being problematic. And I think for me too is I would just go ahead and buy a blue palette, but I probably would only buy it if I was giving the other one away, because I've hoarded stuff my whole life. I was taught that was just something we did growing up, what my parents did, and I've been getting more and more into minimalism, and at least from the perspective of not just having too much stuff, and I need to put that into practice more, and I'm trying to get rid of a lot of stuff. I've actually been doing a pretty big purge of crafting supplies, because I actually got really into craft stuff and thought I was going to start like scrapbooking and card making a bunch, and ended up realizing that it just wasn't all that interesting to me. I like the idea of putting like scrapbooking sets together for others to make, you know, either cards or scrapbooking or something like that, but actually making them myself is not that interesting to me. And so what I did is I actually took out all of my paper crafting stuff, and I'm trying to basically repackage them into sets, and I made a second Etsy. I don't have anything on it yet, but I'm planning on basically selling off those supplies as sort of curated scrapbooking or card making sets, so that I can get a little bit more value out of that. I can still put things together that are fun for me, because that was why I bought them, was I wanted to put things together. But ultimately, when it comes to like card making and stuff like that, now I would just paint something. I don't need all that paper. So, but if it takes me too long to put all that together, I need to just donate it. So, the glass mat on my desk, and love it for everything. It's so easy to clean. Yeah, that is true. Having the glass down is really nice for cleaning. And this is actually pretty nice too. It's not the best, but I mean, contact paper is meant to go in like cupboards and things like that, so if there's a spill you can clean it, and it's been pretty easy to clean, so that's nice. Okay, let's get more of this flower done. That's pretty close. So yeah, this is more or less the color of these flowers, and then the tips are white. Probably need to switch over to a more detail brush, but whatever. You've always done crafting and card making, but love to paint and really trying to focus. Nice! Yeah, honestly, I feel like what happened for me is I loved the kind of addiction to collecting the supplies, finding bargain like scrapbook kits and other stuff was really fun for me. And I always liked the idea of making that stuff. I was even like, when I first started watching YouTube videos, most of the people I watched were primarily crafters. And so I collected quite a bit of crafting supplies, and specifically paper crafting supplies. And the more I look back on that, I feel like I started off with learning to draw and more kind of fine art oriented creativity. And when I got out of college and started my psych degree, I felt kind of like I had already sort of decided when I finished my illustration degree that I, quote, wasn't good enough to be an artist full time. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do art as, you know, a professional. I've kind of come to terms with that. I guess I'll craft. I'll do it as a hobby, and like crafting is an art-related hobby, so I'll do that. And I was like, I kind of bought into that idea of like I could do scrapbooking, and I genuinely liked the idea of all of that. And there's nothing wrong with doing that professionally or as a hobby, but it never quite clicked with me. It wasn't all that interesting for me to test out. The closest thing I would say is maybe doing more art journaling and mixed media stuff, which I do want to do more of. And so I'm probably not going to completely get rid of all of my paper, but I feel like it was sort of me settling into this idea of, all right, I'm not good enough to be an artist or a fine art artist. I'm going to just do this instead, because that's the next best thing. And I didn't really enjoy it and I didn't work with it all that much. I ended up just collecting a whole lot, and it's just taken up a lot of space. We've moved with a lot of my supplies over and over, and so I would love to give them a new home where people are actually going to enjoy them. And again, I like putting the sets together. I like curating things. I think that's really fun, but yeah. Yeah, 70s eyeshadow. It's funny. The names in general are pretty funny, but that one is sort of out of left field in my opinion. But if anyone's interested, when I finally get some of those products up, and some of that stuff's going to be like washi tape samples, because I have a large variety of washi tape, and I'm keeping a lot of it that I really like. But I have a lot of colors that I don't really like or won't probably use all that much. And so I have washi tape samples. I'm going to put paper packs together for junk journaling and scrapbooking, probably like 6x6 size, because that's going to be easier to send. And I have lots of little embellishments that I've made or I've collected, mostly I've collected, and all sorts of products. So on Etsy, there's Fairy Tale Fox Designs is my main art store, and Fairy Tale Fox Crafts is my store for that. It doesn't have anything on it yet, but if anyone is interested and wants to follow me over there so you see kind of what my basically destashing stuff is going to be, it's going to be hopefully a little bit better than just kind of random stuff that I'm destashing, and more of like I said, curated things, because that I want to make like an actual product for people. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, and trying to open up the space in my studio a little bit more. We may in the future need to use this space for more purposes than just my art, and so I'm trying to be open to that. If we need to make it into like a guest room and add a bed or futon or something, I want to make sure I can more easily do that, because right now I've sort of taken over the space and it's a pretty large room, so I started out scrapbooking, but once my kids were grown I kind of lost interest and I found stamping. I have a lot of stamping stuff as well. Unfortunately, I have a lot of ink pads that have now basically dried up. I can maybe try to revive them, but they're mostly cheap ink pads, so yeah. I remember that eye shadow from high school. Did you wear that color? I see where they're going with it. I'm not surprised. Okay, let's try to mix up this color. I am gonna go with those two that you mentioned, Jacqueline. Yeah. Which, mixing those two kind of creates sort of that color, which that's pretty good. You just aged yourself. That's okay. I feel like I always enjoy live streams more when we have people who are all over the spectrum in terms of age, because I feel like there's always opportunities for us to learn from everyone. I mean, I feel the same with any sort of life experiences too. The more variety, the better. So, you are very welcome here. I don't think I know how old most of you are in chat or subscribe to me. I guess I have more so an idea of who my subscribers are since I can look at analytics, but the main thing is I've seen the numbers have skewed a little bit. I think because my IKEA supply video went or got pretty popular. I feel like that brought my average demographic of my subscribers to, it used to be closer to my age, which I'm 30. And I think it was in the range of like 25 to 35 or something for a really long time. Most people were there. And then when my channel grew a bit more, it went lower and lower and lower. I And I feel like to some degree I can see that with some of the comments, but like I can tell if someone's a little bit on the younger side. And I didn't necessarily set out to have my channel be for a certain demographic, but yeah. Now I have to concentrate and not miss where his spots are. Oh, what are we doing up here? Okay, good. Link, you're snoring again. You okay? Link, you're snoring. Shh. You can see those types being liked by younger crowd. Yeah, I mean, again, it was more so interesting to see the age going down, because I think it's, again, more like 18 or something, 18 or so. And I hadn't really thought about it all that much of like what my demographic would be. Aside from, I was pretty certain most of my viewers are female. But, I mean, who knows? And that's held true. And, yeah, it was just interesting to see it change. And I was more curious how so it changed. Because I think I started to notice that more when my IKEA video went pseudo-viral. I think a lot of people found me through that video. I'm always curious if you guys remember what video was the first you saw of mine or how you found my channel. I know we probably have quite a few who found me through Denise. That's always fun. But if it was a different video, I'm curious kind of what made you find me, and then also what made you want to subscribe too. I think this color works really well. It sort of implies that he could be black, but this paint does pretty well kind of staying wet on the paper. It's probably more so the paper I'm using than anything else, but I feel like I don't have to rush too fast to try to get a nice enough wash. But again, it ends up creating textures like you can see here that I don't hate. It's more kind of interesting. I typically try to do really flat washes. I'm also not trying as hard as I could to get really flat washes, but I enjoy the texture that these bring. The spot color is great. Yeah. Yeah, I figured you're probably one of those ones that definitely found me through Denise. Which, thank you, Denise. Off in Mexico. Having a fun time. Hopefully seeing rainforests. Might have put a little too much pigment up here, but oh well. Like I said, these paints are for me to kind of play around with and experiment and be okay either making mistakes or just kind of being a little looser, because I do find that that's something that's hard for me, is to be a little bit looser with my paintings. Even doing the background on this and kind of fading it out was a little difficult. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, we have a nice little network of artists that I feel like I keep seeing a lot of the same viewers and commenters and stuff, and it makes me so happy to see a lot of the artists that I really love on YouTube, that we're all kind of a big family sharing subscribers and we're collaborating together, and it's been really fun. Because I feel like when I first started YouTube, I wanted to be a part of some of these communities that I could tell were a little bit more well established, but I was such a small channel and didn't necessarily feel like I fit. And so it's nice that I finally feel like we have a little bit of a community, both that I'm a part of with YouTube, but then we have our own community here, which is really nice. So, yeah. All right, what is his other, oh, his other foot only has a little spot on it. Probably not exactly accurate, but whatever. I think to further make it like this is a black, kind of trick people into thinking this is black, I think I'm going to use a really diluted version and use that for the shadows in the white. which I don't do a ton of shadows in my work. So I don't know how well this is gonna go, but I feel like that would sort of make it seem like this is more of a gray than a color. I don't know if you're even going to be able to see that. Oh, is that the little, like, brown pots that it's like a conditioner, cleaner, shampoo kind of thing for brushes? Because I've been wanting to pick up some of that. I haven't heard of different brands, but there's probably a bunch out there. I really should get that for my brushes. I think I take good enough care of them, but I need to take better care. Oh, from Schminke, okay. I don't think I've seen that one. He has a bunch of little freckles that I'm sort of not paying too much attention to. Oh, this probably needs to come down farther. I don't know how well that is gonna work. Kind of comes down like this. That'll also help make his snout look a little bit longer. I think that's probably gonna end up drying weird. There's one from Skoda. Yeah, I feel like they are. I've heard really good things about the Masters ones, though. I keep thinking I'll go into Michael's and just use my 50 or 40% coupon and just pick one up because I've seen them there. I went to a different art store recently and they had little mini ones, but I feel like I probably will end up just using a full size one, and since Michael's always has those coupons, I was going to go in there. But every time I'm near Michael's or thinking about going to Michael's, I always talk myself out of going, so I just don't. So, but I need to use one of those coupons sometime soon and try that out. Should do a collab with Casey Golden because they go good together. Yeah, I love Casey's stuff, and I love her humor and her stuff too. That would be awesome. I would totally be up for that. I don't know how many kinds of collabs she does, and I think typically they're with a lot larger channels, but there's like a few artists that I've thought about collabing with and maybe reaching out to at some point. Because I would love to do that, and I think collabs are super fun. Mira Byler's another one that some have mentioned to me, and I think that would be really awesome to collab with her, especially since we now both do pretty cute animal and plant stuff, so yeah. Hey Mark, how are you? You don't need keep watercolor brushes in good shape. Yeah, I definitely have had harder times with my acrylic brushes for sure, but I also didn't love acrylic painting all that much, so I probably didn't respect the material as much as I could have, and I probably didn't take care as much as I should have because of that. But I'm more so curious about all of that just because I see a lot of people talking about the Master brush cleaner, and I know it's available at Michael's, so I might as well just pick it up and try it. I think another thing is I'm not the best at storing my brushes. So I don't store my brushes upright when they're wet, which is good, but I won't necessarily store them upside down when they're wet, which is the best way to keep their shape. And I usually store them upright once they're dry in a cup. But I've been thinking about trying to make something for when they're drying that they can hang upside down, that I can just kind of like fit in, kind of like a little hack of some sort, because I don't want to buy anything too expensive, but we'll see. I think all of my brushes are synthetic too, unless I inherited something that isn't and the name rubbed off. I think all of mine are synthetic, and I don't really plan on getting any real hair ones. What are the best art shops in your area? I've lost all my zest for Michaels and AC Moore these days. I recently found, so I was visiting Denise at her last show she did in San Francisco, since we are really close to each other. And San Francisco's actually kind of a nice midway, a little bit closer to me. We're about an hour away from each other, and so we try to meet up whenever we can. And she was selling at this place in San Francisco, and at the area kind of on one of the wharfs where their little station was set up, there was, what art store was that? I think it was in connection with an art school. I can't remember the name of it, but that is where I did pick up a couple things. So I mentioned earlier that I like sketching with these color erase pencils, and this is my original purple from my set of, I think 12 it is, the big set of different colors that I ended up getting, and this is the indigo blue. Those are my two favorites. The indigo blue, I was able to buy a secondary pack of just this color, like 12 of them, so I have a whole bunch of these ones, but I hadn't been able to find these open stock or in a set anywhere online of this color, and I really, really like this color for both markers and watercolor. And at this other store, I was able to find open stock, so I bought a few of those, and I bought, I think, some open stock Premier Prismacolor in indigo, because I also like shading with this color, and I wanted something softer, so I did get some of those. It wasn't Blick. We have Blick by us. I don't know how big that store chain is. And we have one in Berkeley, but I've only been there, I think, once or twice. I really try not to go to art stores. But that's the main one. I think we have one when I lived on the peninsula near San Francisco. There was this other, like, California something. They changed their name after we left, so I wasn't really sure. But yeah, I tend to not go. I've mostly written off Joann Fabrics for any sort of art supplies, although I have gotten some really cheap, like, clearance items there that have been really nice. Like a few watercolors and stuff when I was first starting out, but I don't find a lot of value in that store anymore, mostly because of the types of stuff they have. I just am not interested in, but yeah. Ivory soap works just as well. That's good to know. I can't leave my brushes out because the cats think they're toys. That's a big reason. Well, that's one reason the cats are not allowed in here anymore. It used to be any of the pets just because of the fur issue, but I've gotten a little lax with the dog just because, I mean, look at him. And he's just sleeping in his dog bed. He'll just stay there the whole day. And he likes being with me, so he sleeps in here. But specifically the one cat, Lando, this little sweetheart, would be attached to me at the hip if he could in here. The problem is he will eat anything green, alive or not. So he has munched on these fake succulents. He will eat any sort of plants. And in particular, I have an English ivy that I just recently got that is going to be in this room, and those are toxic for animals, and so I need to make sure that no cats are allowed in here. And that helps a lot. It makes me a little sad that I can't have the cats around, but he's one of those cats that thinks he is a lot smaller than he is, and he just bangs everything off the table with his tail, and yeah, he's a big cuddle monster, which I love, but not in my studio. He gets into trouble a lot. Oh, San Diego! Nice! Yeah, so I've been out to the New England area in summer. A really, really good friend of mine lived in Boston for a few years, and I visited her on 2 different occasions, and it was summer because I was in school at the time, and so that was the time I had a break. And the humidity is not my favorite. I will say that. I do want to visit the New England area in the fall, and we're hoping to possibly plan a trip for next fall, since our anniversary lands in the fall, because fall is my favorite. So hopefully we can actually have a fall, because we don't really have fall here. And now we're in fire season, so that's super fun. But I appreciate being in the Bay Area. I do like San Diego because the weather's a little bit cooler. Where I'm from in the LA area and other parts of California get so hot, it's no bueno. At least it's dry. But yeah, I don't deal well with the heat. Hi, how's work? Oh, hurricane season. Yeah, see, I'm thankful for where I live. I know I complain. Mostly I complain because it's not green enough here for me. I would really rather be closer to lush green and rain and all of that. So the Pacific Northwest is where I would love to end up. Oh no! Did you get roped into a project or just trying to finish stuff up? Do what you gotta do. You've had your hurricane turn the century. Yeah, hurricanes are no joke. And they've been pretty bad. And I know for much of California, we have our earthquakes, and recently we've been okay, but I feel like we're constantly in fear of like the next big one. I also was in Los Angeles when the Northridge earthquake, or the 94 earthquake. I was actually basically in Northridge when that earthquake hit in 94. And that has made me terrified of earthquakes. And that one, I mean, they're trying to figure out how to predict earthquakes, but not super well. I didn't super think out how I'm going to do his eyes, because his eyes are technically brown, but really dark. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting tomorrow's the 4th of July. I forgot about that, and then I realized I'm going to be streaming over on Twitch for the 4th. I still haven't figured out if I'm gonna have a normal work day tomorrow or not. Hey, Emma! Oh yeah, you're from the future! Not that the 4th of July means much, right? How you doing? It must be morning there? Or, oh, is it actually afternoon there now? You're way ahead of me. Years since Hurricane Harvey, and we still have people that are not. Yeah, I know, it's so sad. And I don't think people realize all the other things that happen. So like dams breaking, or the extent of what flooding actually does. It's not just the hurricane and then it's over. It's a lot more, and water damage is no joke. And the amount of water, I mean, it's crazy. We had some little earthquakes and even tiny tornadoes, but that's so unusual for Germany that people freak out. Oh no. Yeah, that's actually when I was a child, when that big earthquake hit, I remember waking up and thinking that there was a truck driving by. I didn't necessarily register that I was moving very much. I just heard the sounds, and it was basically all the glass in our house shaking. So, yeah. From the future. 10:45 a.m. Wow. Yeah. 4th of July is kind of our thing. And it still blows my mind how seasons work, So it's winter for you guys? Is that right? The amount of rain, yeah. Well, because the flooding was so high, right? It was just so much altogether. Sorry about that. Tornado, earthquake, or anything like that. So we're lucky here. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think about places in the US that have regular tornadoes or hurricanes and things like that. I'm like, why would people want to live there? And then I think about at least those you can sort of predict, and earthquakes are what we have here. And we're always like, when's the next big one? I mean, anywhere you live, there's something. So. Oh, it's 5 Celsius there? What is that? Man, I envy you. I don't like summer. Although I don't want to skip over fall. Fall's my favorite. It's like the perfect amount of cool, and I like the wind, and so Fahrenheit 41 degrees. That's pretty cold. Because 0 would be 32 degrees for freezing. Because Celsius actually makes sense and Fahrenheit doesn't. Like most measurements in the US, right? It just doesn't actually make all that much sense. But that's what we're taught, so. I'm gonna add a few more details, and then I think I'm gonna take a break from this. I think I need to walk away from it. But I did want to add a little bit of greenery and yellow to the flower. I think those are green. Wait, let me check. They're green, right? Oh, they're kind of light green and teal. That's okay. And then the middle part is kind of green, and then kind of a yellow. I almost want to use my new, I got a new glass dip pen. And I kind of want to use that for lining this. Probably not today. Might not be thin enough though. Oh, it's too much water. Oops. Probably should make the Triforce yellow, now that I think about it. Autumn. Well, it's autumn or fall. It's sort of interchangeable. Do you guys not call it fall at all? That's interesting. Weather's amazing. Gets to about 40. Okay, now I have to look up what 40 is. Why is this not showing me? You kind of melt.
This is my first time.
40 degrees is like 105. That's way too hot. No, no, no. I get upset with 85. I feel like 85 Fahrenheit is too hot. Interesting. Barely have Halloween. Aww. Halloween's okay. I'm not super into the candy stuff anymore. The decorations are pretty fun. I guess it's probably one of my favorite holidays. Probably more so because of when it is, not necessarily of what you do or anything. I'm not super big on dressing up. I don't know. It's okay. But if you ever want to make it out to California, I'll show you around. Yeah, 40 degrees Celsius does not sound good to me. Yeah, I think this is pretty much ready for inking. I'm gonna kind of put it off to the side. I think I'm probably gonna set this up for me for the next time I paint, but I think I'm probably gonna call it for today. I'm feeling super not focused. And I guess we could just talk about weather in Australia and stuff, but that's probably not that interesting. Yeah, most of California gets way too hot for my liking. I grew up in Los Angeles, and now I'm in the Bay Area, near San Francisco, and it's a lot cooler here because we're near the water, but we're supposed to have a heat wave this weekend. For much of the state, it's starting in on Thursday or Friday, and it's gonna be well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think when I looked at it, it was 104 is 40 degrees Celsius. So around there, for like 3 or 4 full days straight, over 100. So think I like the full concept of it, like the scary stuff and the idea of it all. Yeah, that'd be super fun. I'd love to make it out to Australia, although, I mean, there's a lot of it, so I don't know where exactly we would go. I've only been overseas to London, Rome, and Berlin in Europe, so haven't made it down south quite yet. Not yet. There's so many like TV shows and things about California, especially in or around Hollywood or Los Angeles, that I think growing up with that and TV, I feel like it made me super sarcastic and just kind of roll my eyes at it all. I mean, a lot of it is kind of true about how people are on those shows, but it just made me kind of sad. But a lot of shows and movies and things like that, because they are filmed in various parts of California, it's kind of neat to be like, I know where that is. I've been there, or I've seen sets, or, you know, them set up somewhere that they're filming. So that's kind of neat, but eh. Yeah, it's gonna be really hot. I think it'll be a little cooler here. My husband and I were both looking at the weather though, and one app was saying like the 80s and the other app was saying 100, and I'm like, that's like 20 degrees difference. Somebody has to be wrong. So I'm pretty sure it's on the hotter side, and we don't have air conditioning here in our house, at least. So I'm not gonna be super happy. Let's just say that. Okay. I've been overseas, thinking of starting with New Zealand. Yeah. Well, if you're ever over here, let me know. It's pretty far. We get that all the time, 100 degrees with 100% humidity. Yeah, you can keep that, Jacqueline. No, thank you. I know, I feel like I complain about the heat a lot, but I've experienced the humidity of the South or the East a couple times, and I don't envy you guys. I can't say I envy you. I mean, the dry heat brings on its own issues, but the fact that I can be hot but relatively, you know, not too drenched, that's pretty nice. Yeah, the world is so big. There's just so many places, and it's so neat that I can live stream like this and like talk to you in tomorrow. I mean, it's not even 6 p.m. here, so it's just really cool to hear from all of you from different time zones and hear about the places you live, and all of that is so neat. Yeah, Lana, it's basically like swimming. I've only been to Texas once for a very short trip for a wedding, and I believe it was in winter or fall. I don't think it was winter. I think it was fall. And then I was mentioning earlier, Boston, and kind of New York area. I was there for summer once, and then I was in Florida when I was pretty young, but that was in winter because it was around my birthday, and I'm a winter baby, so, but it's still pretty humid in general. We gotta bounce. Okay, I'm probably gonna be signing off here anyway, but thank you for coming by, Emma. It was nice talking to you. I went to Arizona once, and I could barely breathe. The air was so dry. Yeah, it's so interesting how we get so comfortable where we are, even if we complain about the weather like I do all the time. I understand being in humidity would be terrible, but if I lived there, I would get used to it to some degree. And I think to some degree too, the dry heat isn't the best for me, at times because I do have really dry skin, and when it heats up, everything goes crazy. And so health-wise, it's not the best, but I probably would be even more out of whack of other places, so yeah. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna head off. Thank you guys so much for being here on this chill stream, drawing some cute animals. I can show you the slideshow of animals really quick. So on the screen is Lando. He likes being in drawers, but he also really likes cuddling, and he's a sweetheart, but gets in trouble. He also likes to help be the dungeon master of our D&D group here and there. He also loves modeling for me. I have probably 10 times more photos of him than my other animals just because he's a little ham, but having animals is nice. And then we have Obi, who likes our dog quite a bit, and I didn't get a chance to sketch him out yet, but I hope to. And I want to make a piece like this for all of our boys. All 3 of them are boys. But yeah, I'm excited about doing more pets, and I'm excited about doing your pets. If any of you haven't seen or heard me talk about hashtag Plantify my pet, I have that kind of down in the corner or bottom of the screen. I have that going on my Instagram, and if you are interested, I would love for you to tag some of your favorite pet photos and allow me to use them as reference for basically me building a little pet commission portfolio and doing them in my style, where I either include plants around them or have them partially turning into plants, things like that, flowers, all sorts of fun stuff. And if you're interested, head over there. We have a lot of people that have already shared pictures of their pets, and I'm super excited, especially if you have kind of interesting animals that we either don't have as pets here in the US, like hedgehogs. I think maybe parts of the US have those, but I think for the most part we don't have them as pets here. It's illegal. But lizards and snakes and really anything you have as a pet, feel free to tag it, and hopefully I will get through a lot of them. I'm probably not going to get through all of them, but if I do pick your animal for this sort of practice for me, I will have the original available at a discount for you if you want to own it. So that is one little benefit if you're interested in sharing and want to get a cheaper commission. If I do end up using it, I'll have that available to you. So yeah, make sure to check out my Instagram. It's at Jennifer Charlie, and I am posting there, trying to post there a little bit more regularly. And if you're interested in more live streams, I am live streaming over on Twitch, and that is twitch.tv/fairytalefox. A little different than here. And I will be there tomorrow for the 4th of July for those of you in the US. And yeah. Thank you, Jacqueline. We should stay safe. I don't know that we're even going to be going out or anything, so, but I do hope that, especially here in California, we don't have any fires break out because of fireworks, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you next time.